You see Magdala under the bush there on the left. Good morning, everybody. If you weren't in on the first moment of the video, then when we finish, go back and see the first couple of seconds. I thought I was ahead of the game, but the sun beat me. And I still had to put in the links, so that's my little delay this morning. We're in a different spot here on Mount Arbel. And there's a dig starting down here. Well, it started a couple of days ago with the big machinery, but it's going to be a serious dig. You remember last summer they were digging just to do a preliminary investigation regarding the construction of a road here, of the intersection, to improve the intersection. So basically, there was actually a frescoed house found, if you remember. And that obviously raised the stakes and the curiosity. So now there's a full-scale dig in progress. And we're all a little bit excited to know what's going to happen there. And it's led by Dina Avshalom Gurney and Arfan Najjar. And we pray that we will have wonderful new blessings through this dig. So we're coming up here from the north. It's a while since we've been over on this side. You remember the harvest series last between Easter and Pentecost time on those fields? And then this wonderfully lush horticulture, orchards. And right now all the citrus fruits are getting ripe. Our pomelos are basically edible. And the oranges are coming quickly. And the mandarins are ripe, or almost ripe. They're delicious. It's nice to see the sunrise like this over Magdala in one image. I'm going to... There we are. So greetings to everybody who's on board right now. We have very tough readings today, people. Very thorny readings, uncomfortable readings, readings difficult to digest. You know, you don't like falling into a bunch of bushes with thorns. And these readings are very challenging. And they're not just about the past, they're really about the present. They're not just about the big bad guys. They're also about us and each of us and how we live with the other. And how we live with the gift of grace, the gift of blessing from on high, which enlightens our lives and calls us always to further change. It's amazing because our prayers before God are not just words. Our prayers before God is really our whole life before God, and letting it be influenced and affected by Him. So that's the big challenge, because it's relatively easy to say the words. But it's more challenging to live those words. Lord, I love you with all my heart and all my soul and all my strength. So if we look at the text today from the Maccabees, we have again the scenario of religious persecution with all its vile consequences. And then we look at the gospel passage and Jesus talking about the upcoming destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans. And it's not so much by the Romans, because that's not even in the text. It's really by You know, a lot of destruction in our lives is self-wrought. As hard as that saying is. And I'd like to tie all this together with another phrase of Jesus, which is very enlightening. You cannot serve both God and mammon. And that process isn't just like one big decision on one day, as it was for the Maccabees. Okay, it was that for them on the day we're going to look at, to choose. They were offered gifts of silver and gold if the head of the family would simply agree to worship the false gods. And that offer is abundant today for all of us. To serve the idols. Those wonderful gifts God has given us, which are gifts, and they're along the way, but they're no substitute for God Himself and for integrity. And to deny your faith for silver and gold, for favors, this cannot be the path of human maturity, of human fulfillment, of deep human happiness. It's impossible that that is the path. Hey guys, I'm looking for my path here, and I want to get you a little closer to the dig from up on high, but also it's a little steep, and I have my walking sticks, but they're tied up on my belt, so I have my hands free for the phone here. And so we see major conflict in both of these readings, major conflict. And the conflict is not just external, it's also internal in the heart. And actually this conflict we're at home with this conflict very often in our lives, some people every day. And it's very uncomfortable, very thorny, very painful conflict. And then how do we resolve conflict? And there are very different types of conflict. There's a conflict in our conscience between the attractions of fame and pleasure and monetary gain and the call to be upright and just and to put the person before all other things, the human being. And conflicts really happen all the time, every day in a way, because I make choices. And I have to choose between this and that, and both are pulling at me. And sometimes the choices are between people and things. And who do I choose? Whom do I choose? What do I choose? This is part of the human condition, the human malaise. And there's a lot to do in our lives. So when we come before God to pray and to worship, it should be authentic, it should be free, it should be generous, it should be self-giving. And every little thing we give to God are just indications of our self-giving. Maybe the first reading from Maccabees will be disturbing, and the huge ethical questions of going to war, as Christians, we can't stop hearing in our ears that echo of Jesus' words, "He who lives by the sword will die by the sword," which is a very, very stark reminder of the limited ability of arms. There's also that expression that's used in different places, what goes around comes around. So what are the options available to us. And we see also in Jesus' life himself the option he chose. Peter put away the sword and he cured the high priest's servant's ear, Malchus, with a caress of his hand filled with love. There are very big options in life, and it takes a long time for us in society to learn how to live these options, how to make that Solomonic wise decision. It's the big challenge. And it's not the big challenge that the Maccabees have every day, it's in the little things every day. And where my heart is consecrated. And how my faith embraces the other, a spouse, a child, a parent, a neighbor, sibling, co-worker. Jesus' words on the Mount of Olives, if only you knew what makes for peace. Again, a major word addressing the issue of conflict. And this is addressing the interior conflict and also the eternal conflict and the temporal long-term conflict. If only you knew what will bring peace. That can be our prayer today, that the leaders of nations, the leaders of peoples, all with authority, even in the smallest structure of the family, to teachers in school, to police officers working in troubled neighborhoods, through conflict in business, all the litigation. And in that path of non-violence, to the upright I will show the saving power of God. There's also another power at work in our lives, in our societies, in history. To the upright I will show the saving power of God. We see the power of the sun each morning, so that can also encourage us to put great faith in the ineffable power, and we cannot find words to describe it, of the one who created the sun and the stars and the moon and our world. Hey, is that Padre Duncanson from San Diego? Good morning, good night to you. Hello there, everybody. I'll be signing off now. God bless you. See you later, alligators.